All right, guys, top of the morning. Happy Wednesday, April 9th. If you don't have your cameras on, I'm not calling you out, but I'm calling you out. If you have the ability to be here, be present, be in this moment, I don't care. One eyelash, two eyelashes, hair like this, no makeup, some makeup, it doesn't matter. Just want you here in this moment with us, present. Your energy and your contributions mean the world to me. So show up here how you would show up anywhere. I'm asking for 1 hour of your time to go full tilt on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning. So you guys, let's go ahead and get rolling. I'm going to pick somebody to bring us out on the field, and that person's going to set the tone, share their sentiment, get the ball rolling, and make sure that we start off with a sense of direction as we do every single coaching session. And I'm going to look around the room really quick, and I'm not going to call anybody that doesn't have their camera on because these are also recorded, and you guys can see these online as well as on other platforms. So I'm going to go to, that person's going to be, all right, let's go Jamie Thomas, our resident DJ on the ones and twos. I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's go, Jamie. Grab the microphone and let's hear from you. Bring us out on the field on this amazing morning.
All right. Happy hump day, everybody. Hope everybody week is going well. God bless us with another day to be here to resonate in this beautiful sun. So I just want to say, everybody, get out there, make it happen, make it a great day. And I read something this morning that said language is creation. You're either building power or building pain. So let that resonate today.
Well, I love it. I love it. And like I said, I never have a person pre-selected. This is all in the fly, in the moment. And I love that you came with some fire this morning. So Jamie, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your contributions. So you guys, we're going to get rolling and I have some thoughts for you. I heard something. I thought it was really powerful. I actually ordered the book because I've never heard of this book before. But let me ask you guys, and maybe Ashley or some of our other avid readers on the call have read this book. Has anybody ever read The 7 Frequencies of Communication? Now, okay, so it's a book that I would highly recommend. I don't know much about it. I just know this one section of the book that I heard, and I wanted to share this with you guys. But it's a book that I'm going to add to my arsenal, so I'm going to highly encourage that you guys do that. But I want to read this to you guys, and it's about you. It's about your identity. And so I'm going to read this to you, so bear with me. As long as you are held captive by the opinions of others, your identity will be dominantly shaped by what other people say and think of you. To know yourself, you must come to a place where what other people say is irrelevant to your identity. And stay with me. This is a lifelong journey, not saying it's going to be easy, but when you decide to pursue a life of authenticity, you are freed from a life of image management. You do not have to live worried or concerned or shaped by other people's judgments. I want to leave that there for a minute, guys, because I thought that was absolutely powerful. Oftentimes, we feel that we may have to conform to the industry or conform in certain circles or not say things. Now, when you're in grandma's house, that's different. But when I'm talking outside of grandma's house, I wanted to share that with you because I feel that oftentimes we find ourselves as we're really searching for this identity. And when he says image management, that you no longer have to manage an image, you just are who you are. I thought it was really powerful, and it reminds me of you guys. It reminds me of our environment. So I wanted to share that quote with you, or that passage from the book, and see if anybody had any thoughts, contributions, or insights as we open up this morning. Anybody have anything to say, share, contribute on what was just shared? Anybody, throw your hand up, get involved in the conversation. Would love to hear from you. And don't leave me hanging, because you know I'm just going to call on you if you do. All right, well, hold on a sec. Really, you guys? It's Wednesday morning. This is called Keep It Moving Group Coaching. This is not, I'm not going to say nothing coaching. That's not what this environment is. Let's be real. Let's reset and let's remember why we're here. This is about keeping it moving. When you guys are asked to contribute, all I'm asking to do, let's have a conversation. So let's go, Cecilia. Appreciate you throwing your hand up. We'll get to Chicken Mom. We'll get to Michael. We'll get to Ashley. Thank you, guys. Let's roll.
Okay, it makes me think about a book that I read about 25 years ago, and it's called What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. So just, being who you are and not, we care about our image, but also just like you said about being authentic, that, you know, there's a balance of being who you are and how you come across to others. And so I really like that. I wrote that book down. I'm going to get it. But that book, I haven't read it in a long time, but it's a really good book too.
I love it. I love it. So what'd you say? What you think of me? What was
Is
the
none
last?
of my is none of my business.
Ooh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Really good stuff. Appreciate your contributions. Thanks for starting us out. Brianna, let's go over to you. Chicken Mom, what you got for us?
So that I want to read that book because that resonated with me, because when I first got into real estate, I really had this idea of what I was supposed to be or how I was supposed to act and the way I was supposed to present myself. And I was not being my authentic self. I was being quiet, which we all know that's not me. So I want to read that book, and that just resonated with me because I really feel like this last year being with Team Fast and Keep It Moving coaching, I have learned to just be me, walk in the room, be me. And I love it. I love me. I'm amazing.
You are not quiet. You are the chicken mom. We know you love the dance. We know you love the ratchet music. We know as soon as you go over the Altamont Pass and you dip down into Livermore and you keep cruising towards Hayward, she leans a little bit with it. We know how it goes. We know who you are, Brianna. You've showed your cards to us, and I'll tell you what, I never want to see anything different. Never want to see anything different. So Brianna, I appreciate your contributions. I'm going to hold off. Michael will go last. Let's go, Ashley. I don't know if you were just throwing me a bone, but thank you nonetheless. But you always have good contributions. And then we'll shift gears with Michael. Let's roll.
So I grew up in a household that was very structured. Like, when this happens, you're supposed to do this. When you do this, you do this. So there's lots of expectations of how you're supposed to be. And then I went to go work at the bank, and it was very similar. Like, this is the type of nails you have to have. This is the way you have to dress. This is how you have to speak to people. And when I got into the real estate realm, it just felt so much more free. I still carried that expectation with me for a little while, though. And it took a while to really realize, actually, it took finding you guys to really realize there are other people out there that just can truly be themselves and live in alignment with who they are and be successful. And when I had that mind switch, it was like everything started to come together just naturally. I just, like, if you look at my Instagram, I'm like baking sourdough with my kids, helping people buy houses, all the things, but I'm genuinely not working because I can relax into being who I am at my core. And I find that momentum builds so much faster that way because you're not working at it. You're just being you, and you're working as hard as you can. And it comes together so much easier that way.
God, I absolutely love it, Ashley. I love it. And I'm going to go over to Michael. I'm really glad that you raised your hand on this, Michael, because we have seen this evolution of Michael, particularly in social media. That's what I want to preface this conversation, that he's found a lane that works for him. He's found his voice of expression, and he's found a video flow that is truly, truly working for him, and it's creating tons of buzz. So Michael, let's hear from you. What's your thoughts, contributions on this passage?
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what I've based my business off of over the last 5 or 6 months, is just straight up authenticity and kind of unbuttoning the top button, so to speak. And honestly, it's blown my business up. I've had more BRBCs go out. I've had more leads come in. I've had more business in the last 6 months than I had in like the prior 2 years, just by being myself and and letting my hair down a little bit, and just and welcoming my tribe, the people that mess with me and the people that are going to do business with me because they like me and like how I get down.
I love it. And what should we be doing? We should be bringing our ass on. Is that it?
Bring your ass on.
I love it. I love it, my man. So really, really good stuff. Before we get into anything about the market, what we're going to do today is I'm actually going to pull something up on the screen that was a real objection that a agent got the last couple of days, and we kind of unpack this, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. But when we talk about conformity and we talk about having to walk the line, my wife works at the Livermore Labs, and Glenn knows all about the Livermore Labs. The Livermore Labs is very, very by the book. I actually got a call yesterday from an FBI agent. Now, how many of you have ever gotten a call from an FBI agent? Okay, good. Okay, good. So the world that I come from, I've never had a conversation ever with an FBI agent. And if I ever did, I promise you it wasn't for the right reasons. But she gave me a call. She wanted to ask me all these questions about my wife because my wife's going through her security clearance. And like every single thing that I said, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm answering this wrong. Oh my God, I feel like I'm answering this wrong. But it's just like, I talked to my wife last night. I'm like, I couldn't do what you do. Like, I just couldn't do it. All the rules and the regulations and this and that. Like, I just feel that in our business, we don't necessarily have freedom, right? People say, oh, I'm going to get in real estate, I'm going to have all this free time. No, that's a misconception. But what we do have is we have a freedom of choice on how we want to run our business, how we want to think about business, how we want to brand ourselves, how we want to show up on social media. She was thinking yesterday, God, is there any videos that I've posted on social media that I shouldn't be on social media? Should I look at my social media? Should I take anything down? What about stuff you've posted? I'm like, what, I got to audit my shit now? Like, I gotta go in and audit my stuff now? Wait a minute, there's tons of videos on there. So just made me think of how grateful that I am to be in this space of true self-expression and to be able to think freely and do the things that I want to do my way. And so she kept me on the phone for an hour, an FBI agent on the phone for an hour. So Glenn, I know you know all about that. Let's go to Cole. You had your hand up really quick, and then we're gonna shift gears in the conversation.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, sometimes that when someone in your immediate circle has those restrictions, it kind of does weigh on you. I've had that. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm always kind of having to pull it down a notch because of my dad and insurance. So I know how that can be.
Well, I never have to pull it down a notch. I don't. And she knows what she signed up for. And the FBI agent, she's like, that was a really fun conversation. She's like, it was a really fun conversation. But nonetheless, it just made me more grateful and thankful for what we do. I love my wife. She needs that type of structure. I need more of a variety, but that's why we come together. We're a good team because she needs things that I don't need and vice versa. And so I want to pull this up, and I wanted to give some thought and some context around this. And this came from Jessica Segura Hernandez. So Jessica, I think that you're on the line. I saw you come into the group just a second ago, but what I want to do is I want to get some insight from each of you, and it's fine. Throw your hands up once I put this on the screen. Jessica came to me with a challenge with a conversation she was having with a consumer. And Jessica, before I share my screen, are you there? Can I get you to just take yourself off and mute really quick? Jessica Segura Hernandez.
Yes,
there we
yes.
are. All right, so Jessica.
I'm here. Wait, Elias, I'm here, but it might cut out.
It's okay. I just want your blessing to share the objection that you got from your consumer. Is that okay?
Oh, yes.
All right, cool. So let's go here, you guys. I'm gonna prep some things, and I want to share some thoughts. I have some answers for you. We did a little bit of research together, and we're gonna go through this as a collective because I know anytime there's anything happening economically, something with the market, something that's, tariffs, conversations, then what happens is that there is a population of our buyers that are going to get fearful and they're going to retreat. Then it happens, and Ashley sees it, Jeff sees it. They retreat because their fear overwhelms them, and their fear topples over their desire to see the big picture of home ownership down the road, right? They get crippled with that fear. And so what they do is they get stifled and they don't want to move forward. How many of you have ever had a consumer that came to you with that type of information, that they were scared about the market and they just decided to halt? Does anybody happen to anybody? Happens to all of us, you guys. So I think that this conversation is very applicable, and I would love to hear your vantage point from this. So I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to read this for all of you guys. Feel free to take a picture of this, and I'm going to share my screen in just a moment. Boom, bap, we are in. Present. Okay, cool. So here's the objection, and I want to read this out loud for everybody, and I want to get involved in this conversation. Now, client objection. We're hoping to start some even larger projects, but with all the current recession warnings, it doesn't feel like the right time to purchase a home. There's a real concern that many big companies around us might start layoffs, which could directly affect our customers. We've decided to wait for more stable economic forecasts and possibly lower rates, which often follow a recession. I'm going to pause for a second. I just want to leave that there. I want you guys to look at this. I want you to process this for a second. And as you think about an astute response, what comes next? What do you guys do? How do you reply to this? And this was something that was text to her. And so that's when you are going to think like, how do I respond to this? Do I call? Do I text? Do I ChatGPT? All three, whatever it is. So I'm curious to see who wants to take a crack at this really, really solid objection. I think this is a solid concern. It's a solid objection, but I want to hear in your words what your rebuttal would be to that client concern. And listen, this is not a time to be shy, because if you get faced with this challenge out in the marketplace, I would rather you fumble here. I would rather you practice here than practice live with the consumer. So I need 5 hands to go up, because 5 hands will carry us quite a few, for a few minutes in the conversation. So I need 5 people to get involved in this conversation. And listen, do not be shy. I shouldn't have to ask you guys to get involved in this conversation. You're all professionals. You guys have the dialogue. Stephanie, who sees it from a different prism. She is a lender. And so I love that you raised your hand first, Stephanie. So let's roll. What's your contribution? And tell me if you want me to put it back up on the screen.
Yeah, can you put it back on the screen, please?
Yep. All right, cool. There we roll. There we are.
What is that? Okay, it doesn't feel like the right time to purchase a home. There's a real concern about the layoffs. Okay. So I would say, I completely understand why there's a concern, but I will say that now there are a lot of laws in place to help homeowners. In the event that you buy a home and you do get laid off, there are laws in place now to help homeowners that are struggling. Where back in 2010, there wasn't, and that's why millions of people lost their home. And if you are renting and you get laid off, do you think your landlord is going to help you pay that rent? Absolutely
No.
not. There's nothing in place to help you with that. But if you're a homeowner, your lender will work with you to help you keep that home. That's my biggest input.
Wow. Wow. Really, really good stuff. I want to hear from On2 and Jamie Thomas. What were some words or some phrases or some things that you heard that you said, you know what? I really, really like that. And I could use that in my own flow. On2, let's go to you first and we'll go to Jamie second.
You nailed it at the end, Stephanie. I mean, like, I was sitting here like, what would I say? But that, I think from the lending side, you gave us the answer. It's like, you rent, your landlord is going to kick you out, maybe give you 2 months max. But your lender can definitely help you if you do lose your job and you don't have, the money to pay. I love that answer. I'm definitely going to fucking use that answer. Yeah. Thank you for that.
I love it. And as much as I've unpacked this rebuttal, really thought about it the other night, Jessica and I had a brief conversation last night about it. That last line that you said, Stephanie, didn't even come to thought. It didn't even come to thought. And that's why we share, right? And when I tell you guys to contribute, throw your hand up, you're going to hear something that's going to spark something or remind you of something like, wow, I'm so glad that I heard that. But if you don't raise your hand, you don't contribute, then we don't get that collective energy. This room is about collective energy. It's not about my dialogue. It's about you guys sharing and contributing. So fire. Jamie, what's your thoughts, contribution on what she just said?
That was fire as far as us knowing about what the mortgage industry can do for a client. So I think we just have to lean in and acknowledge, repeat and acknowledge to what they're saying. Kind of agrees. I understand your concerns about the economy, but let me get someone that can help you, walk you through this process, because there is help out here. We just need to lean into it and know where to go to get this assistance. So, hey, I understand your problems and your concerns, but let me direct you to where you can go and get some help and get more knowledge and information about that. Because a landlord is not going to have sympathy at all. I'm not saying a lender will, but you have more leverage with a lender versus a landlord.
Wow, really, really good. I absolutely love this. And listen, the economic conversation from a consumer, the fear of the economy, you're always going to experience this, no matter what happens. Good economy, bad economy, middle economy, bull market, all the markets, COVID, post-COVID, 7.5% interest rates. You're always going to have these questions about economics. And if you can handle it like a G and you can get through the conversation confidently, then your consumer will at least be able to think about it in a different way. I'm not saying that your words are going to completely change the way that or completely change what they're going to do next. However, it may stop them and say, you know what, Steph, you're right. We didn't think about it that way. We didn't think about it that way. And if we wait a year, what's the cost of us waiting a year? If appreciation goes up 4 to 6% in the Bay Area in certain markets, Sacramento, certain markets, what does that mean? And can we afford an additional $70,000 at this price point? I don't know, right? And in most cases, they can't. So good stuff, Stephanie. Let's go over to Otis and we'll go to Kelly, and then I'll get to Snow and Joanne.
I get it, Elias. I know right now there's a lot of uncertainty, not only with your employer or many employers all across the nation. Real estate is coincide with the economy about 9%. So I could very guarantee that there's going to be things in place. I have a lender who I just talked with that explains to me that there are programs in place in case you do lose your job. But you seem like you've been at your job for quite a while. You said about 15, maybe 20 years now?
Yep.
So I think that you're pretty sure that you have some leeway somewhere, someone else that's just freshly in a job, obviously that's going to affect their credit and just getting approved. I think that right now you having the power to even think about buying a home is very powerful for you. So we need to use that leverage. We can check in with your job. We can check in with your employer to see if they forecast any type of layoffs. We can also look into any type of programs. Are you aware right now there's currently $200,000 handed out to Bay Area residents right now trying to purchase homes? So I think that if we look in the right structure and the right way to make this giant leap for you, that we have these insurances in place that you don't even have to worry about that. Now you're currently renting, right?
Correct.
So is your landlord just going to come up with saying, hey, Elias, you've been good to me for the last 2 years. I'm going to let you slide for a couple of months till you get back on your feet? Do you think you got that good of a relationship with your landlord?
No.
Now, if we were able to get you into a home, there is the possibility of we looking into homes that will give you some instant equity in case we do fall back on a big bump, that you have some, equity in your home to pull out to live for a few months, live for a few years. There's always something that's going on with the economy. As you know, we have no control over that. The president's sending tariffs, people sending tariffs back. But I do think that there's going to be some level of sustainability coming to where things are going to get back to normal. We're not looking like in a COVID situation, right, where it's a global phenomenon. So I think that we'll be okay. We just got to make sure that we look into the steps, we do our homework, and we put you in a safe position.
Well said, as always. Well said. Really, really good job. I appreciate the contribution. Let's go to we'll go to Heather and then Kelly. Heather, glad you found that hand up button. Let's go, Heather. Let's hear from you.
I kept putting my hand down because I don't think that my response is going to be as articulate as everyone else's, because I do see this as bullshit, this whole thing. And I do like that he explained it, but what are these projects, what's important?
Yeah. So give me, I love this. For context here, maybe Jessica can chime in here. I think that actually, Jessica, what is the project? Why don't you, I'm just going to hear from you instead of me trying to fill in the blanks here.
So they're renting out a location for a daycare center because his wife runs a daycare. So they want to, instead of renting, they want to own a property, like a residential and commercial area, to run their daycare.
Okay. So, and the thing is, the conversations that I have with people is this has came up, back. I mean, I've been in, real estate for almost 6 years, and this always comes up, and it's like, everybody's always waiting for that perfect market. It's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Consumer, but do you have a crystal ball? Because I don't. I mean, I can, try to predict the market. We try all the time, but you never know, what's going to happen. And I hate to break it down to something just so waiting for the perfect time is for waiting for the perfect time to have a baby. If you have the money, you have the down payment, go do it. Quit fucking the dog, you know, because they're just going to keep saying this and saying this and saying this and saying this. And it's like, is that time really ever going to come? And of course, I would never say that to a buyer. Of course, I would articulate it, but I would just really get down to the numbers. Like, okay, well, how much are you paying for rent? You know, how much are, you know, you able to put on a, you know, down payment, and just really figure out the numbers. Like, is it really going to cost you more to own, you know? And I'm sure that you've done all that, you know, get them set up with a good lender and get them on a financial plan where they, you know, can have enough money to put it down, because realistically, is it really going to cost them more to own than to rent? Because who's to say their rent's not going to go up? Because there's no, you know, it's just this stuff where everybody's just too scared to take the leap. And it's just, and they'll do this for years and years and years and years.
Yes. Never heard that analogy, but I absolutely love it. I put it in the comments section, but I absolutely love all the things that you're saying. So there's a community out in Modesto. It's right next to Modesto. It's called Riverbank. And if you're familiar with the Central Valley, Riverbank is an emerging city, and it's really, really cool. It's really pretty, great rated schools. They just got a Costco. So, you know, when you get a Costco, you know, things are on the rise in your community. Well, I rented those marquee lights for the Keep It Moving and Intensity event 2 weeks ago. And there were these giant lights. If you guys were there, you saw them. Well, when I was there, we were just talking real estate, and he's like, man, he's like, I'm so glad because this house is beautiful. It was remodeled, you know, the landscape, it was just amazing. And he's like, man, I bought this house 10 years ago for $109,000. He said, at the time I was making $12 an hour and I was a forklift operator. And everyone was like, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? He's like, I found a program. They were able to help me out. And he's like, my house now is worth right around $650,000. And he's like, I literally have no concerns. And all the work that I've done, he's like, man, he's like, I've just leveraged my house over the years. And he's like, I'm still young. He's like, I'm so glad that I did that when I did that at $12 an hour, purchased the house. And it's in a beautiful community. It's on a cul-de-sac. It's the last house on the cul-de-sac. And so he's like, yeah, man, he's like, I tell my friends all the time, don't wait, don't wait, don't wait. He's like, and I just use my house as an example. So really good stuff, Heather. Appreciate your contribution. Let's go to Kelly, then we'll go to Joanne, and then we'll go to Deep Blood. So let's go, Kelly.
All right, so I understand your concerns. You know, times can be a little uncertain right now, but we did discuss, and you, as of last week, were ready to take the jump and had all the finances and everything in order. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready.
Okay, well, great. So just so you know, there are so many programs out there right now. In fact, there is a first-time home buyer $200,000 program. They're giving you money. And you know what? If for some reason you happen to lose your job, the government has programs that can protect you, and they will come in and they can help you develop a plan to get you through those hard times. Now, do you think that that's something that your landlord is going to help you with if you happen to fall into this situation?
No, he's a jerk.
Okay. Well, and honestly, I can tell you from my personal experience, my husband just lost his job, and guess who's helping us out right now? It's the government. They are giving us plans to help my family in this time of struggle. And I know they'll do that for you as well as, so do you know what happens? I know rates are, you know, historically, they're pretty average right now, but let's say that they come down in a month or two. Do you know what's going to happen then?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, tell me.
Oh, that my payment will go down? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, yes, that is correct, but that is not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is when rates come down, what happens is, boom, the buyers are coming out of the woodworks. You know what happens then?
Competition?
Major competition. We will be in bidding wars. People will be going into contract without any contingencies, not having that protection, and literally competing against offer after offer. And then the cost of the homes, guess what? Everybody wants to outbid the next person. So the cost of the home prices go up, 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 up. Okay, so right now, the ball's in our court. You know, we have the opportunity to come in. I can negotiate those seller credits for you. We can get that rate bought down. And even if I can't do that, you know, let's say rates do come down, we'll be able to have my amazing lender come in and refinance you later when rates come down. So, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I really feel like right now, this is the perfect time. I do not want you to miss this opportunity. So let's meet tomorrow, and I'm going to give you the pros and cons of everything, and let's get you in the home of your dreams.
Love it. I love it. Well said. You know what? Somebody's put it in the chat. I love, not that you're sick, but I love the tempered Kelly. But I think too, in this conversation, you have to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to breathe deep and I'm going to hit them with some facts and some figures and some stats and data, because I think like somebody just put it in the chat below. If you look at the data and if you look at the last 6 decades, I love that you said that. There's no sign that this is not going to be a great opportunity for them to build wealth. And there's no signs, right, at all. Now, in the moment, they're going to look at the moment. And what they're going to do is they're going to be blinded to everything else, all the good news, all the things that get blinded by that. When they fixate, right? Consumers fixate. And so you're not saying that this is going to be the magic bullet, but what it's going to do, like I said, it's going to stop them and make them think. I don't know who.
Yeah, thank you.
Demian. I muted him, but really good stuff, Kelly. Joanne, let's go to you really quick, and then we'll go back over to Demian between sets. Let's go, Joanne.
So I totally hear you. I completely understand your concerns. This is a concern that almost every client I've worked with for the past 5 years has had. And unfortunately, the market never feels like the perfect market or the perfect time to buy. There's always something that's might be, not quite right. Even a couple of years ago, when the rates were super low at 2%, people were not sure if they should be buying because they're bidding $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 over asking price. It's well over the appraised price. So that's also they're excited about getting the low rate, but then they're paying these huge prices for these houses. And I had the same concern when I bought my house 17 years ago. We almost pulled out and almost lost our earnest money deposit because we got cold feet and got really nervous. And I'm so glad we didn't, because our house has doubled in value. Even my neighbor down the street told me that 50 years ago, when he bought his house in his 20s, everybody told him he was crazy for spending $70,000 on a house in Orinda. And now his house is it's at a 2 in front of that. So everyone has these concerns. It is a very valid concern. And unfortunately, the market is always going to feel like it's not quite right. But you also have to think about how much money you're going to be spending in rent while you're waiting for the market to feel like it's exactly right, which it never will. If you're spending even $4,000 a month, you're going to be spending a couple $100,000 in rent while you're waiting for the market to feel like the right time for you.
Really great. Like, this dialogue is fire. This is next level. So great job. I'm going to pause for a second. I want to get some thoughts and some contributions on what was shared thus far. I'm going to go to Glenn. I'm going to go to David, and I'm going to go to, I'm going to go to Mohan. So Glenn, what's your thoughts, contributions? What have you heard so far? You said, you know what, I like that. I can use that. I can take that word. I can put it in my flow. What were some things that you heard from everyone that's contributed thus far?
Yeah, this is great. I love the way that everyone, like, no one is judging them for the statement. The statement that I saw is wrought full of doubt, and it just kind of wrenches my gut to kind of see all of the doubt within that. And it just gives me the impression that I need to talk them out of this space no matter what. And the way that we talked about partnering with your lender on this, there's no need that you have to go this alone. And I love the idea that, get some muscle in the game. Let them help, right? If they're not listening to you, get other people in there. Help them to tell the story and get them out of that pit that they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. Jessica, I need some help understanding this. They're spending $16,000 a month in rent. It says they said
they said that they spend about $200K a year. So that's why they're looking to purchase in the Peninsula, San Jose area.
Where do they live?
They live in Palo Alto right now.
Okay, it's all starting to make sense. Wow, $200,000. Let's just times that by 5. We're talking, geez, that's just absolutely crazy what they're spending every single. Okay, all right, cool. So glad we got some context on this. Let's go over to David. David, I want to get your contributions, thoughts on what was shared thus far. Let's hear from you. Well, and you're new, so what are some things that you're hearing in the confidence, the flow, the dialogue? Let's hear from you.
Well, yeah, as a new agent, I think like learning all these talking points is kind of, something that I'm definitely working on. So hearing like how to come back to something like that where people have this fear of recession, and I feel like I'm guilty of it too, just like doom scrolling through, Instagram or whatever. But like little points like, if rates are going down, bringing out the competition, that it's never going to feel like the perfect market, laws being passed by the government or programs through your own lenders to kind of help during economic hardship. And then, I don't know, I liked being able to show them like data from the past that also, the walls are still standing and it's not the first time, people have seen economic hardships.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to this guy. It was an older gentleman who had purchased a house in the 90s, in the 200s in Danville. Imagine purchasing a house in Danville in the 200s. You can only imagine what that house is worth now. Like you can only imagine, he's like, this house, this is for the grandbabies. That's what he said. It's for the great grandbabies. That's what this money will be able to afford my family to do, is going to give them some peace and some freedom. So well said, David. I'm going to go over to Nico. Nico Snow, rapid fire, big dog. What's one thing that you've heard from everyone that's contributed that you can use, apply, or a confidence that you said, I like how that was put across? Let's hear from you, Nico.
Yeah, 100%. I love the fact that we think about 10 years back, going back to 2010, and I think about everyone I talk to that are homeowners and that are just so blessed that they got into a home at that point to now where they're just so happy that they did it. It's funny because I've had those objections where, oh, Trump's in office, I'm not buying a house for 4 years to, the tariffs. So I'm really happy we went over this. And knowing that there's laws to, help you keep your home and mortgage companies that can also help as well.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. You guys, I'm going to pause for a quick second. Vernon, can you grab the mic? Because everyone's frozen on me.
Yeah, you back in motion. Move again, bro. No, yeah, you're good. Oh, then you went frozen.
He's coming
He's
in
in and
sections.
out though. He's in and out. He's like making different gestures every time.
Joanne, I see your hand up. What's your contribution? How would you approach that?
Sorry, I need to lower it. I
All
just
right, cool,
spoke.
cool. I just want to make sure I was coming in clear.
To lower
Switch
your
my
hand.
internet.
That was an old hand, wasn't a new hand. Thanks, Joanne. You back, E? Okay.
It's funny. He thinks it's us.
Elias going once. Elias going twice.
No, just take the mic for 1 second.
Okay, who else has a Ashley, let's go.
Hey.
Vernon, just take over for me.
I just wanted to add that in this market, with all of the tariffs and all of the drama and all the chaos going on everywhere and all the confusion, nobody knows which way is up, our clients are borrowing our confidence. It's so important that we are rooted in factual data. The market has continued to go up. If you bought a house and kept it for 10 years, there is no decade that you have not made money hand over fist. I shared a quote earlier in the comments that is from Warren Buffett. What does it say? Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Right now, people are fearful. What does that mean? Less competition. This is actually the best time. I understand, customer, that you are fearful. The whole world is right now, and you are so valid in that. People really are losing jobs left and right, but let me tell you, this is actually the best time to buy, and let me tell you why, and then explain. But you have to feel confident. You have to feel positive. You have to be rooted in facts and so sure about that yourself that you can explain it that way, and then they will believe you. I've had so many clients come in with those fears, and they just need a little bit of facts to coddle them and put them right back on the right direction. There's not one of them that has not made money. So housing market's going up with or without interest rates, and when they do drop, you can always refinance.
Look, Ashley, I love that contribution. If you guys didn't record, if you didn't write down that Warren Buffett statement, take a page out of the greatest investor that ever walked the planet's psychological investment strategy. Be fearful when everyone else is greedy, and be greedy when everyone else is fearful. That two-sentence message is spot on when you're talking to a client. When you're talking to a potential buyer and you quote a Warren Buffett, take a page out of his book and quote that to everyone knows who Warren Buffett is. And it makes complete sense. When everyone else is greedy, step on the side. It's too much competition. But when people are fearful on the sideline, that's when it's time for you to eat, right? Take a page out of that book and use that two-sentence quote Warren Buffett. Is going to make you sound like you are just so in tune with economics and investments and psychological strategies on how money actually works. I guarantee you that's going to come across as a feather in your cap. Ashley, love that. Thank you, girl. E, you got
so Vernon, just don't go too far. Glenn, you had your hand up really quick. What was your thoughts, contributions? I'm going to share something with you guys.
Yeah, so I had this very similar conversation with clients yesterday. They're selling in Colorado and they are moving here, and they're like, well, what's going on? We're afraid. Should we really move? And I said, look, you have the best realtor here. I don't know who you're working with up there, but I can assure you that I've got you covered here. And, just having that conversation and hearing my confidence. And I said, I'm busy. I'm watching homes fly off the shelf right now, in contract in 4 days. So sometimes it's just that having that conversation and letting them know that you've got them is enough.
Yeah, for sure. I love this, Glenn. And then if it cuts out, let me know. Let me ask you a question. How many of your grandparents, whether they're still with us, bless their hearts, or whether they passed on, how many of your grandparents, when you remember going for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, going to grandma and grandpa's house, riding your bike in the neighborhood, like not being able to sit in the living room because you're not allowed to sit on that couch, all those things, right? The little glass bowl of little lemon candies that you would take and the light that you would just touch with your hand, it would turn on. You thought it was the coolest thing. And then grandma would come in and say, don't touch that lamp. How many of you went to your grandma's and grandpa's house and they owned their house when you were growing up as a kid? Please raise your hand, right? My grandparents came to California in 1961 and purchased a house for $11,500 in the city of Laverne in Southern California. And when you think about that generation, it was work, American dream, purchase a home. There was no question about it, right? We were not a society of renters at that time. We were a society of people that said, I'm going to work hard, save everything I have, and buy this little $20,000 house, $30,000 house, $50,000 house. But then they lived in those houses for many, many years. And if they did pass on and left that asset to our families, many of our families are still building on that wealth because of the decision that our grandparents made 30, 40, 50 years ago. And so that wealth has helped to provide opportunities for us in current day. Now, my father fucked off my grandparents' house, and he was an alcoholic and he did not do what he was supposed to, but things happen. For a lot of us, that wealth has continued on because of the smart decision that our grandparents made to capture that American dream. And so I want you to think about that and reflect on that. And some of you may still be going to your grandparents' house, and I love that for you. They're the ones that really set that stage for us to build wealth and to capture the American dream. Make sense, everybody? Vernon, I appreciate your help and thank you for stepping in. You guys, I want to share this with you because if you're not leveraging ChatGPT now, I don't want you to have ChatGPT create a message for you, rather enhance the messaging that you tell ChatGPT to create for you. Now, I did this yesterday with Jessica and I sent her the responses. I put this into ChatGPT and I'll let this come up. I put this exact same concern and objection that we are covering today into ChatGPT. And I said, answer this objection from an agent named Jessica to a client concern. And I said, what are 5 ways to reply to this client? And the 5 ways were a balance between empathy, strategy, and leadership. So you see here the empathetic educator, and I'll just read 2 of these. I totally hear you. You're not alone. This is on a lot of people's minds. What's interesting is that historically, some of the best real estate decisions have been made in uncertain markets. Doesn't that fall in direct alignment to the quote that Ashley just said? That's when the competition cools off and opportunities open up. If rates drop later, you can always refinance, but home prices might not stay where they are, especially in markets like ours. Timing the bottom perfectly is nearly impossible, but preparing now can mean you're ready when others are just waking up to the opportunity. Like, I think it's so crazy how the universe works. You guys are all smart and astute, and you have said things that are in direct alignment with what was produced here. Now you have the strategic thinker, the future caster, the data-driven guide, the let's make a plan approach. And so all of these are reference points. And my encouragement to Jessica is take my answers that were produced from my ChatGPT, because I've trained my ChatGPT, and then say, reword this in a way that I write, in the way that I communicate, and get a couple different ideas. And so when you're at a lull, when you hit a wall, like, shit, how do I respond to this? The first thing that I want you all to do is I want you to go to ChatGPT. And now if you're not using ChatGPT, it's not going to know you. So the more that you use it and leverage it and tell it how you communicate and feed it information, then you're going to start getting responses back that you say, you know what? Wow, that's me. That is me right there. And so, Jessica, I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to go back to you. You've heard a lot of contributions today, and I appreciate you throwing your objection out there. Jessica, what were some things that you heard that maybe were eye-opening that you could potentially use in the future with your communication and dialogue with your consumer? Let's hear from you.
Definitely what Stephanie said about how mortgage companies help with loan modifications. So that's a good one that I will start to use in the future. Like if anyone has any concerns, and the programs that help buyers with their home.
Good, Jessica. And listen, I appreciate you throwing that out there. Anytime I hear stuff like that, I'm like, God, what would be the best way? There's multiple ways to go about it. And at the end of the day, sometimes people just need a little bit of space, and it's okay, right? They need to experience this, and then we're following up with them. Hey, Tom, I want to share with you what happened. Last month, X amount of houses sold in that area, X amount of new listings. Here's what's moving. Here's what's happening. I just helped a client that had similar concerns, or I just heard from one of my team members, helped a client 3 months ago, and they're already at X amount of positive equity. So I'm in your corner. Just wanted to give you an update. Hope all is well. That type of information is going to share with them and keep them in your good graces until they're ready to buy. And sometimes we do have to be patient based on their time frame and their concerns and their fears. So really good stuff. Mayori, I want to hear from you really quick. One key thought, one key takeaway from our time together today. Thanks for being here. Mayori is new to the team, but she's a veteran in the industry. So Mayori, let's hear from you. Going once, going twice. All right, we're moving on from Mayori. Mayori, if you're here, go ahead and just interrupt me. I'm going to go and get a couple people's contributions before we start to wrap session. So I am going to go to Gary. Gary, one key thought, one key takeaway. Luis, you're going to be on deck.
Well, hopefully it showed everyone that no matter what the problem or the question is, or the whatever we're trying to address, there's ways to do it. A lot of us try to take on problems too much by ourselves solely. So sometimes we get caught in our own head, like, I don't know the answer to this. But Elias said some great things. You have ChatGPT, you have Google, you have some incredible agent friends that have been through it. Let's not be scared to ask each other for some advice. As well as, like my daddy said, I'm not scared to steal some game if I hear it. So if I hear it, I'm gonna steal it and put it in my toolbox. So I just want to thank everyone, for the opportunity. But yeah, just go after it. Like you said, uncertainty creates moments people ain't ready for. So take control of it.
Love this. And aren't we all? Well, on this call, we've all stolen game, and then we add that to who we are. It's borrowed confidence. I'm going to borrow a little bit of Gary's confidence until it becomes my own. That's what we do. So, Gary, I really appreciate that vantage point. Thanks for contributing. Luis, let's go to you, big dog. You're in the car. You're taking notes. I see you, my man. One key thought, one key takeaway from our time together today.
Yeah, thank you. So one of my biggest key takeaways is that there really are a lot of options for homeowners, especially with people who are feeling a lot of uncertainty. I mean, look at COVID. Who were the people who really got the most amount of help? It was the homeowners. even still to this day, they're still getting a lot of help. So it's just a matter of letting our clients know what the options are and just speaking about it confidently with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Confidence is everything. The one that is the most certain in any conversation is always going to be the one that has the most influence. So I appreciate your contribution. Thank you, Luis. I'm going to go over to Snow. Snow, you had left the meeting for a second and then you came back, so wasn't able to get your contributions earlier. So Snow, let's get one key thought and one key takeaway from our time together today. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm pretty new and I really love everybody's contribution. And for me, I just want to add, maybe ask the clients the reason they need a house. They really need a house, and there's no perfect time to buy a house, and you cannot predict the market. And tell them that you don't have a perfect market to buy in, but you always have a I'm sorry. You don't have a perfect. You don't need a perfect market to get in. What you need is a perfect strategy that I can offer. And long-term wealth is always made in the time of uncertainty. And the reason that you want to get a house now is because of the need. Maybe you have kids, you want to have a good school districts, and the need says everything that
No, I love this because as she's contributing, and I think this is her first time contributing on coaching, some things just happened that I want you guys to look at. So there was a moment where she almost fumbled over her words. She collected herself and then still was able to spit some fire. And that's why this is so important, because it's like warming up your lyrics. I want you to get warm here. So when somebody asks you a type of question like this, that you don't over your words, you have so much confidence because you've practiced this. And so Snow, I want to thank you for contributing. Thank you for throwing your hand up, and thank you for being in this moment with us. Enjoy the rest of your hike or walk or exercise or whatever you're doing. Looks like the sun is shining wherever you are. So I appreciate your contribution. You guys, let's go back to our opening sentiment, and I'm going to share that last part of the passage. When you decide to pursue a life of authenticity, you are freed from a life of image management. You do not have to live worried or concerned or shaped by other people's judgment. You guys, if there's anything that I could leave you with today, is obviously knowledge and rebuttals, but most importantly, the ability to just be free from any type of conformity. Be yourself and be able to be free walking in your own purpose. And that, my friends, is freedom in this business. That, my friends, allows you to be able to feel comfortable to express, to be weird, to be dorky, to pick your nose, whatever it is. That's you. Be yourself. Like your friends see you, like your friends experience you. That's what the consumers need. The consumers doesn't need somebody that's always going to be polished and perfect. They just need somebody that's human and that could talk with them and share with them and educate them and share their expertise. You don't have to be perfect because we'll never achieve that. All you can do is just be yourself. And if people like you, good. And if they don't, it's okay as well. It's okay. All right. Not everyone is going to like you. Only 30% of the people are actually going to vibe with you. So stop trying to please everyone and just please the human that you are. So Vernon, I'm going to have you close us out, big dog. Thank you for stepping in as always as a co-coach. So Vernon, thoughts, contributions as we wrap sesh today.
I mean, I love it. I think my contribution and my sentiment is short and to the point. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Right? Proper preparation prevents a poor performance. And so what we do in these Keep It Moving sessions is we equip ourselves with the tools to be successful in the market, not in business solely, but as a human being, right? As a human being. If you stay ready as a human being, you don't have to get ready. The production is an offshoot of you staying ready as a human. Let's keep it moving.
Right. That's right, big dog. We are in the human development business. That's it. And if we can impact you as a human, then the production and the agent will be impacted. First and foremost, human development. You guys, thank you for your contributions at a very, very high level. I appreciated it. And Jessica, hopefully you got even more insight and more opportunities to have even further dialogue with your consumer. And as always, keep it moving toward your dreams, goals, and vision, and make this a day that counts. Peace.